Mauvika. Not necessarily gonna lie, I was really happy for this animated short to get done, honestly, because I'm not necessarily gonna sit here and lie. I was one of the people that was like, I like Mauvika, I really want to like this character, but for whatever reason, there's something about her that I'm just not like fully sunk into yet, I guess. Like, I understand she has a whole plan and wants to stop the Abyss, and it's like a whole Archon and all that stuff, but there wasn't anything that was like gripping me hard into attention of what Mauvika is trying to do and things of sort like that. And I wasn't really like heavily, I guess, completely on board when it comes to the character. But now, after watching this animated short, it's like, yeah, I definitely can understand and see why people like this character like a ton. Mainly, especially if you realize how much she suffered when it comes down to getting this plan to work and trying to see this through and all this type of stuff. And again, this short does a very good job at showing you how long this actually took in her mind in this. It's very good, right? It basically shows me what I needed to see, right? Because I think that was the whole thing. She had this whole 500-year plan, essentially. We knew stuff about, we knew what was going to happen with it, but why do a 500-year plan? Why wasn't any other plan, feasible? Why wasn't this like a whole thing that we could just kind of put to the back burner and try to figure out something else that's new? But then when you watch the animated short and obviously remember, hey, she was there 500 years ago, and the ancient names kind of have like the whole, warriors of the past type of thing to come through, and you kind of realize that, yeah, they're not here anymore. It makes a lot of sense. For starters, obviously, you got Mauvika fighting this whole battle with her comrades, but they know they're going to die. They know that this plan was the only thing that was going to work, and essentially, they basically accepted it. They didn't just lay down and die, but they did basically accept that, yeah, we're not going to make it this time. And essentially, we have to rely into the plan, and that's just kind of how it is. They couldn't defeat them at this point in time, but they can push them back a little bit, and that's essentially how the whole damn thing kind of went, right? And it really just shows you how much everybody kind of believed in the plan, believed in Mauvika to do this as well. Because you gotta remember, she was already strong before she became Archon, right? She was already strong. She won the pilgrimage, and then she became Archon. And you also gotta remember that Mauvika is human as hell. So she isn't someone that's like, born into Archonhood. No, she was literally, earned the title. She was given that title, honestly. And when it comes down to it, yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you really look at the grand scheme of the plan. If you had to beat your enemy in the future, how else would you do it? And really thinking about it, like, why would she have to sit there for 500 years in the sacred flame and whatever? Well, again, she's human, so just like any other human, she's gonna age and die at some point in time. So it's probably best to preserve yourself, your body, and everything about you for 500 years, and then come back when the plan is actually ready to hit in motion and stuff like that, right? And again, they have to kind of build up the sacred flame, I think, at least as far as I remember, as well, right? To kind of get this plan to work. But with all that, I'm not really here to focus hard on the war tactics and the plan itself, but more so on Mauvika herself, because again, this character honestly won me over last night, especially with how much they showed. Yeah, she lost her family, she lost her friends, she basically lost essentially everything but the plan. That's literally the only thing. And so for 500 years in that sacred flame, she's just been going through the passage of time, which you can honestly see in the whole sign by the stop rest area that you'll see in the animation. And essentially it's just like, yeah, she's been there for 300 plus years, and then 400 plus years, and then you got to see at the end where it's like 499 years. So one more year and then she'll be pretty much done. And again, being alone for 500 years pretty much, obviously that's torment. Like, the only other character that has done something like that, and it really messed them up, was Farina, obviously, because she was holding on to the whole secret of Fontaine and, not trying to ruin the plan and all that type of stuff and everything like that. And so essentially she's been basically alone mentally for 500 years. And so she wasn't necessarily, holding it together hard, but she was doing her damnedest to not fail And she didn't. And she still didn't get a thank you for that, by the way, which is still something that pisses me off. And Mauvika is basically in the same dang boat. Again, no one to talk to for 500 years. And it's not necessarily easy to kind of do that. And at some point in time, you lose your sense of purpose. You lose who you are. Hell, she didn't even remember who her own sister was at the end of this damn thing until very late. And that's just kind of how it was because, yeah, she's been traveling this thing for 500 years, had to preserve herself for 500 years, and nothing could really interrupt that process until she reached a point in time where she needs to. Like, I know people don't like Mavuika because, oh, her skin tone color, or, she's a biker chick and she has a motorcycle and all this type of junk. But honestly, looking at this animation just really showed that, yeah, despite all the things that you might not like about the character, there is still character underneath everything. And essentially, that just kind of how I feel, and when it comes down to what we should be paying attention to instead of the weird shit, right? And it's fine, you want to pay attention to the weird stuff, but I feel like it's overly blown when it comes to it, in my personal opinion. And that's just kind of how it is, because again, you get a Archon like this, someone that actually care for her people. And that's another thing too, you have all these other Archons. Yeah, you got Farina, and yeah, you got Nahida, and sometimes A. But when it comes down to it, a lot of the times, the Archons don't really pay too much attention to their people, right? And that's just kind of how it is. And really, Mauvika has been a shining example of someone that is basically a deity over her people, but not controlling her people like that, right? Basically, every single time that she has to, hell, and that's kind of like the thing to really think about. She's been doing this whole trek for 500 years, basically making sure this plan is in motion. Also, at the same time, while planning for that, has to care for the people around her and her citizens. And then 500 years later, she's basically doing the same damn thing. Except she's free now and still has to care for the people that is around her again, and try to handle the public and make sure this plan doesn't fail, and then fight the abyss at the same time. And yeah, that's a lot to kind of juggle. Because let's just be absolutely correct when it comes to this. This is by far the most high stake Archon quest I think really is, mainly because this isn't a situation where, oh, certain groups of people in one country is gonna just suffer. No, the entirety of Tibet could suffer if this plan don't necessarily work out right, because this is the abyss. This isn't people getting melted into water. This isn't people trying to make a new god out of, some technology and knowledge. This isn't basically, seeing if people can defend themselves. This isn't a tyrant Archon. This isn't, a whole ass dragon or none. This is basically the abyss. This is in-game, enemy boss shit, right? And obviously, every country has to deal with the abyss at some point in time. And when it comes down to it, it's like, yeah, if this plan don't really work out, shit can really hit the fan in a horrible ass way, and we won't ever really see it coming. And that's not really good. So to keep it very much a stack, this dead ass is like the ultimate, stakes so far that we have seen within the game, right? And sure, you got the Fatui too, but like, let's just keep it a stack. The Fatui is half decent, half alright, and half bad, obviously. But it's like, when it comes down to obviously the most dangerous group that don't care for anybody, yeah, it's the Abyss. And then it's, as we've seen through Natlan with how much it has tormented people of this country and just things in general, yeah, it's no surprise that this has to be the plan that works. And I understand why she feels like, yo, we have to do this 500-year plan, because yeah, I would feel the same way too. Because if somebody come through a different plan saying they got a different method and all that stuff, that's basically saying, oh, my friend's death is basically in vain and all that type of stuff. Mainly because, yeah, I waited 500 years for this bitch ass plan. I almost lost my mind and went insane. And basically, my friend's death would be in vain if we don't go into this plan. And if your plan don't work, then we basically just shot ourselves. So essentially, yeah, I understand why Mauvika is so hell-bent on this damn plan. It makes perfect sense. Again, is there a guarantee that this plan will work? No, it is definitely a plan, but at the very same time, if you put this much stakes into it, if you put this much effort into it, bitch, you better hope this plan effing works, because that's basically going to be a wrap. And every other plan we had so far is basically a temporary fix. But my point is, though, is essentially that looking really at Mauvika in general, she definitely has won me over even harder now because I understand that yes, this character has suffered hard as hell. She lost her family, her friends, and everything else 500 years ago just so this one plan in the future can work for the future generations. And it makes you wonder what was her reaction when she got that reality whiplash that, oh yeah, my friends are dead and my family is dead and everybody basically I knew 500 years ago is essentially dead. What her reaction would have been if she saw what happened into the future and didn't know what happened to everybody else. And could you imagine the grief of that shit? And again, she's only human. She's strong, but she's only human. But overall though, this whole thing with Mavuika is just absolutely incredible. This whole animation was so good. And it really just shows you that yes, this is a strong ass woman to keep up this for 500 years. Farina is too, but Mavuika definitely has shown her strength time and time again as well when it comes down to it. Honestly, the West be like, oh, we need strong female characters. This is one right here. Praise her, glaze her big booty on that damn bicycle when she riding that shit. Because obviously, you got a fine ass woman that is basically strong as shit right here, who has been mentally strong too, to carry out her whole mission. So, keep very much state. You want to look for a strong female character? This is it. But that's essentially what I really wanted to say for this one. Just kind of go over this whole damn thing because, again, Mauvika is so damn strong and definitely a character I'm pulling for. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I got Arlecchino, so I don't need Mauvika." True, but her character is enough to pull for as well. So honestly, if you just want to go for her, I'll just say go for her if you just want to, right? Besides, we already know what some of the characters are gonna look like in the future anyway. So if you ain't pulling for like the next one immediately or you ain't too hyped about it, 9 times out of 10, you probably might want to pull for either Mauvika or Sea Lolly. Just go ahead. But that's essentially all I got to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow my socials, and you'd like to donate to the channel. Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's Boy J, sign off. Have a blessed day.